Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, whenever you may be watching this. Julio, Bob, Eddie.
How you doing?
Back for another session of 3-Ball Walk. Good to have you with us. Today, lots of things, lots of baseball. Season's kind of getting in a roll here.
Don't forget our live studio audience.
And, once again, film before a live studio audience.
Thank you.
Thank you
That was
so
a quick
much.
cutoff. Thank you guys for cutting off right on cue.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are really, really good.
They're getting better every week. Every week.
So what's the news of the week?
Well, I gotta say, I never thought I'd say this at this time of the season, but the Atlanta Braves were in second place in the East. I never thought I'd say that this year, so it feels good. They're not gonna be there at the end of the year, but it's right now.
Oh, why not?
Freddie Freeman is out for 10 weeks, so, or 9 weeks now, I guess.
That hurts them.
That hurts them.
That's a definite.
But it's
problem.
nice to see the Braves up there because I never thought they would be there this year.
And how many games down are they?
5, I think. 5? How many are they now? It's 5, 6.
It's way more than that,
6.
isn't it?
6.5.
6.5. Okay.
They're 6.5 back, but they're one game up on the third place team.
Yep.
Mets.
It's
They got to play them a few times between now and then.
The Phillies and Marlins are just,
imploding pretty bad.
it's
yeah.
imploding.
Yeah, the Marlins are.
It is pretty bad, and the Marlins is one guy that I wanted to talk about. With Don Mattingly getting tossed out last weekend,
Yep.
the Dodgers game.
Oh, did he? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he did. Apparently, they took umbrage with someone swinging at a 3-0 pitch when the Marlins were down by 5 runs. And Mattingly said that was an unwritten rule of baseball.
I didn't know that one.
I didn't know that one. I never heard of that one.
Don't swing at 3-0 pitches when you're up.
When you're up by 5 runs? I mean,
Never
5
heard.
runs is not that much.
Never heard of that.
Well, 5 runs to the Marlins.
That's a lot.
Well, that's a lot to the Marlins, I would guess. But still, I mean, 5 runs. And so,
So
then
what did he do? He had someone throw at the guy?
And then he had the next inning, what happened in that inning, and then the next inning, a guy hit a home run. And
Can't hit home runs when you're up by that much.
yeah, and then the Marlins pitcher hit the next batter for the Dodgers. Said pitch got away from him inside. So in the 9th inning rolls around, the Dodgers reliever throws one
Retaliates.
behind Giancarlo Stanton, lower back below his hips on the wild side. He starts walking toward the mound. The bench is clear.
I didn't see that. I did not. I can't believe I didn't see that.
So they got
Is it during the softball games or?
I don't know. I just heard about it, so then I
I
went and looked
saw
it
it.
up. I didn't see it live. I read about it and looked it up, and then that was the funny part is after the game, then they were saying, what were you upset about? And he said, well, we were upset because they're swinging 3-0 up 5 runs. Sorry, never heard of that, Don.
That one I
It might be Donnie Baseball, but you're making up your own rules there.
I think so. Yeah.
I never heard of that one. So maybe you guys
I
have.
did see Francisco Lindor. I thought that was the highlight of the week. He sits there, high fly ball behind second base. He shades. He catches it, looks down, and realizes he had gone a couple feet past second base, and looks at the second baseman, and he's got this look of like, can't believe you came over here. So all of a sudden he just jumps over on the other side and flips the ball to him real quick. It was so funny. Like, okay, here you go. Second baseman throws the ball around and then walks over to second base with his shoe and draws a line in the clay and tells him to stay on his side of the bag. That's why it's a game, folks,
Yes.
and that's why we enjoy it so much. I mean, it was absolutely
Great. Great.
Yeah, I mean, you can call him off, I guess, at that point. But
He was up, but it was so funny because right when he caught it, he looked at the base and looked at him. And
oh my goodness, I'm
and
on the wrong
jumped
side.
up. 2 feet just hopped right over.
Did they win that game?
They did. The Indians are playing good ball.
They are.
They're right there. I told you the bandwagon I wanted to jump on without Dallas Keuchel, but they're still doing the job.
Yeah, I mean,
First team to 30 wins, I think. Are they the only team to 30 still?
No, they're who? Who'd you jump
31
on?
and 15. Colorado's 30
Colorado,
and
30
17.
wins, yeah.
So Colorado hit 32, but Houston, they're doing well.
Yep.
I mean, and they've been playing they've been playing good teams. They're teams that are playing well right now.
So, if you're those teams in the West, time to panic yet?
No, the Rangers went on a little 10-game streak
Yeah.
of their own. They're just over 500 a little bit, but they're not out of it.
8-2 in the last.
If you
10.
look at, I mean,
7 games back.
7 games, but they're a game, a game back
In the
wild
wild
card, half a game back in the wild card. So, I mean, are they the second best wild card team? No,
I
they're
don't know.
right
They're
there.
tied with LA, so both those teams are 7 back in the West, and you got the Central. I still do not believe the Central Division.
So you're gonna
No.
your Minnesota softball team didn't make it to Gainesville.
No, they didn't. But I still will defend it. It still was the wrong placement.
Yeah,
Because they lost 2 games by 1 run,
1-0.
1-0 to
On the road.
Alabama on the road, and 1 game was a total jam job by the home plate umpire.
That first
the
game.
first game, they should not have. I mean, the pitcher threw 2 strikes. I don't know what the umpire was looking at.
The bases loaded walk was
That was the
a
one.
strike.
Yeah. Well, and 2 pitches before that was a strike. And so it should have never been 3-0 to begin with. It should have been 2-1, then it should have been 2-2, and then who knows what happened. I mean, maybe the girl, it's it.
Yeah.
Maybe she strikes her out. Who knows? Maybe they're still playing. But, I think those games would have been different if they'd been at home. But, we'll see. Either way, they got a shot. They didn't do it. They didn't score a run. And
So-
if they'd played
so
in
they
the
get
SEC, they wouldn't have scored that many, and they wouldn't have been ranked number 1 either. So
So they come to Gainesville.
Alabama comes to
Alabama
Gainesville
will
Thursday,
come.
Thursday, Friday.
Another,
Hopefully
just like
that's it.
Gainesville, first team to score wins.
No, not so much. Alabama's not as good a team as they've been in the past. They have one really good pitcher, and they have a second pitcher that's pretty good. And again, I think it all depends on how well Florida hits. If Florida hits the way they should, they will beat Alabama fairly easily. If they don't, then it'll be the first team that scores wins. But Alabama's
That's how all 7 games were. First time ever
yeah.
I didn't know that.
in a regional.
That's interesting.
That they're all
7
shutouts.
games, 7 shutouts.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was, and again, Florida pitches it so well. Same thing on the baseball side with the SEC tournament going on for baseball. I think it's the same way. They pitch it so well that they don't have to hit a lot, but they've got to hit some. And when you get into postseason, you got to hit some, or you're going home because their other pitchers are good too. So it'll be a fun night at the ballpark if you're near Gainesville and want to come out.
Come on.
Get a
Or-
ticket early.
Or if you're near Birmingham and you want to come out.
Yeah, go watch the SEC tournament. I mean, you got a great chance all around the country this weekend to watch good quality college baseball tournaments all over the place, and it's a good time to go see them before the regionals get started, and then we'll talk about that.
And when
next
do
week.
they announce that? On Monday?
Sunday night.
Sunday night?
Sunday night they'll announce.
That'll be interesting. So that's something we'll talk about next week. College baseball, the regionals, where they're going. Maybe we'll have something for Eddie to vent. And then in the major
Probably
leagues, some of the powers that you expect. It was kind of interesting. On the day that Albert Pujols came back, he had been injured. Nolan Fontana made his major league
Yep.
debut in the same game
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's correct.
and stole second base. Did you see that?
He didn't steal second base.
Well, he stole second base. Umpire called him safe.
yeah, it's true. I did call him safe, and then upon further
And then
review,
all of a sudden, the manager comes out,
yeah,
argues the call, and the umpire changed without looking at
Without
the
going to
review. He goes,
replay.
"Yeah, I made a mistake."
yeah,
Called him out.
without going to replay, it was great.
He said, "I've never seen that happen in a game."
Then Socha came out. It was great.
So he says, "I have never seen an umpire just change his mind because the guy argued him."
Well, I guess if he knew he missed it, he's like, "Yeah, we're just saving time."
He said, "I knew the umpire that he actually met with the reporters after the game. He said, right when I had my hands out, I knew I had missed the call."
Smart for him to be able to fix it in the major leagues. Now you need to be able to let him do that, I guess. And then I guess at that point, then Socha could have argued as well.
He did.
I could have had it replayed.
But he didn't have it replayed.
No, he didn't replay, but he
Could have had it
argued,
reviewed
yeah.
at that point if
Yeah.
they changed the call.
Well, I thought it was interesting that the guy did what he did. Okay, no, they did talk about it. Joe West and the other guy, I can't remember the umpire. Made
Yeah,
the
they
call.
went, had
They
a
did a
little
little
meeting,
powwow,
and then
and they-
came out.
And he came out, and I thought it's nice to see them do that.
Well,
why
it was,
can't-
it was Fontana in his major league debut. You got to give him the bag.
Yeah.
You make a mistake, let him have the bag.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you say that, and your team loses by 1 game. It's in the playoffs. And all that bonus money to everybody. Nobody's thinking.
My sister, the
it's
Rays
Nolan
fan.
Fontana 1 run. It's his base. All right. No.
No, but it was kind of interesting. But Pujols is back in there.
Yep.
Freddie Freeman tied for the lead in home runs.
Won't be
but
that way next week, but
it won't be that way.
Nope.
No.
For 10 weeks, I was sad to see.
Having not being, as we talked about before, I was the worst baseball player ever played. Having a wrist injury like that, how will that affect him as far as the rest of the season and his power?
Was it broken?
Yes, broken wrist.
Yeah.
It won't. Once it's healed, it's healed.
Okay.
It's not a ligament of soft tissue. And that's one of the things you almost like. You see these guys get high ankle sprains.
Mm-hmm.
You'd almost wish they'd break their leg, because if they break it, you put it in a cast. 6 weeks
healed.
later, it heals. You don't put it when you have a high ankle sprain. You think it's better, and you go back out and you tweak it again, and so that can be a lingering injury. So in some ways, it's better that it was that. Although getting hit by a baseball, you're either going to have a bruise or a break, and you'd rather have the bruise.
Yeah, but a lot of those you think, and it just irritates because you try to come back before it's ready. And
Yeah, he certainly won't come back before it's ready. I mean, then when he comes back, it'll be there. But again, some of that is, how much movement is he going to lose in 10 weeks of being in a cast? And there may be some rehab time that he has to go through to get the movement back his wrist. It could be an injury that affects him all year long, depending on where it was.
And then Mike Trout, Triple Crown.
I can't count him out at this point. I think he has had a great chance.
We never did, and then all of a sudden Miggy does it. Miguel Cabrera does it, first time in 50 years or whatever, and now it's
and Trout has a chance right now.
Trout,
Yep. He's a home run he's tied with a home run average, and he's third in RBIs right now. So I mean,
he's only 2 back, so
Yeah.
he could catch that.
When do you think that it starts to get serious? As far as late August, when you really start, or do you think? October. I mean, as far as Triple Crown, see, I have a chance.
October.
I guess when it gets serious right now. But when do you think that if he's still at the top of the leaderboard, and the Angels have a chance at a division possibly, does he start getting pitched around? Does he start?
He gets pitched around right now.
I know a lot now. Yeah.
September.
It's Mike Trout. No.
Yeah.
I would say September. If he's in the hunt in September, then people start talking more about it.
They'll start talking more about it, but they're not going to change the way they approach him. He's the best player in baseball right now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do?
What can you do?
Some people in front and behind him have to play. Always the guys that hit in front or behind the great hitters have to hit. If they don't, you end up walking guys all the time. And you just put them on base, and if you got a 200 hitter hitting behind a guy, you're going to pitch around him.
And Pujols is hitting, I think, 240 right now, in the 240 range. Do you think having Trout, now he's back, will that help his average start to rise because he'll see better pitches, or it is Pujols?
It's an older Pujols.
Right.
But
yeah, you're still going to pitch him.
you'd rather pitch the Pujols than
The Trout.
Yeah. It was interesting. One of the things, and we'll talk about in the second session, and I remember one of the things that Sparky Anderson said, and now it's just, I'm totally forgetting. It wasn't Sparky, it was another manager around that era, basically talking about Johnny Bench. And the reason Johnny Bench was as good of a hitter, and he was he's a Hall of Famer,
sure,
maybe the best catcher ever. And but basically it was said that we would not let Tony Perez beat us.
Right.
And Johnny Bench got all the notoriety and everything, but it was Tony Perez that the opposing managers were more afraid of, giving Johnny Bench the...
He was great.
And we're actually going to talk about that in part 2. We're going to break down the position by position, look at the major leagues now, look at the major leagues for the last 100 and whatever years, and just look at what's been around and have some fun. This is what the three of us enjoy most anyway.
Yep. Who's the best player of all times at the position, and who's the best one that you've seen live or on TV? So we'll cover that right after this break. We'll be right back.
Second and once part again, thanks for our studio audience for being here today.
We appreciate the studio audience.
It's always nice to have a studio audience.
Thanks so much. We'll be right back.